That's my worship. Come on, sing. Take joy in. That's good. Make it your dwelling place. I wanna put a smile.
Speak to you this morning from this thought: the tragedy of an incomplete assignment. The tragedy of an incomplete assignment. It is interesting that as we go back to the book of Genesis, we find that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis goes through the chronological exploit of how God created the earth and the things that operate within the earth. And we get down in Genesis chapter 1 and right around verse 11, and it says, "And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so." Verse 12 says, "And the earth brought forth grass, and a herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good." So in the backdrop of creation, God says, I'm going to speak a thing, and when I speak a thing, it is going to be a thing. And not only that, but I'm going to speak it with so much power that I'm going to put in it the ability to carry out its assignment. In other words, he says, I'm not only going to create the fruit that is good to eat, but I'm going to put within the fruit the ability to reproduce after its kind. So in other words, I ain't going to be creating no more mangoes. Once I create the mango, I'm going to put in it what it needs to reproduce itself. In other words, you ain't got to pray to me, amen, for another mango, because I created the mango with the assignment to produce another mango. In other words, we ain't going to be doing this again. In other words, when I speak a thing, that's the end of a thing. In other words, when God says it, that settles it. I believe it, and that's the end of discussion. Amen. There's no need, amen, for me to raise my hand and ask a question, because when God says it, it's not a comma, it's a period. And so he says, when I created the earth, I put within it the ability to fulfill the assignment that I called it for. Understand that God has given each and every one of us an assignment, and he has equipped you to carry it out. How do you know, preacher? He has put inside of you whatever it is that he's called you to do. Just like he did the orange seed, just like he did the mango tree, just like he did, amen, the lemon tree. He put inside of you everything that you need to carry out your assignment. The problem is that many of us don't know the stock and the stuff that we've been made of. Many of us have allowed others to label us, to define us, amen, by what it is that they believe, amen. But whose report will you believe? I'm going to believe the report of the Lord. I'm not going to believe my yearbook that said I never amount to anything. I'm not going to believe my haters that said I fail. But I'm going to believe what God says. He said I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. He said I'm the head and not the tail. He said I'll be a lender and not a borrower. Whose report is going to believe? I'm just crazy enough to believe the one who stepped on nothing, spoke a word, and caused some stuff to come about. That's power. I won't believe you who said some stuff and you messed it up, but when God said that it comes, my God. And so it is that God has put on the inside of all of us to carry out our God-given assignment. I don't care how you started. I don't care what your history has been. I don't care who and what they did to you. Molested, no matter. Father walked out, no matter. Because God put on the inside of you what was necessary to carry out your assignment. I thank God that he didn't leave it up to nobody else. I thank God that he didn't even trust me. But he says, I'm going to put something on the inside of you. So even when you go astray, even when you disobey me, even when you don't do my word, it'll still. And a funny thing, slow down, Pastor. My help is here. And a funny thing about a seed, that the potential of a seed is not manifested until it dies. You can't really fulfill your assignment until you die. Come on, look at your neighbor and say, we need to have your funeral. We need to have the reason you ain't producing is you ain't dead yet. You still on life support. You still sucking oxygen. But when you die, and if the truth be told, the reason that many of you are going through as much hell as you are going through is because God is really trying to commit murder. And he ain't trying to hide the fact that he's the culprit, because he knows that when you die, then shall you live again. Come on, tap the neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm dying to live. In order for me to live, in order for me to be what God called me to be, I got to die to myself. I got to die to unforgiveness. I got to die to my backbiting spirit. I got to die to my sinful ways. God, anyway you bless me, I'll be. Sit down, I'm going to preach in a minute. So he comes to the fig tree. And the reason that God was upset is because he knew when he created the tree, he created it with the ability to reproduce and bring forth. So he knew he was the creator of it. So when he came to it, he came. Here's the tragedy of an unfulfilled and incomplete assignment is that people, when you have an assignment, there is an expectation. In other words, if you say you are gifted and you are a child of God, there is an expectation that people need to benefit from your life. Understand, every hellish situation that you go through, every pain and every scar, it is not for just you, but it's for somebody else. Understand this. I know it hurt to go through it, but God wants to take you through to bring somebody else out. You're wondering why it is that you're going through. It ain't even much about you. It's because somebody else needs to be brought out. So he knows that I can trust you to go through it. And if I can trust you to go through it, I can get them out of it. Because believe it or not, folk are watching you. Folk are looking at you. And when they see God snatch you, they'll catch hold of the faith on you. And get and when you understand the purpose of your assignment, you ain't preoccupied with having to go through a test. Because understand,